All right, so I'm recording, just so you know. All right, so let's go through some of these. So you've got twice the number. So you've started with 2x, right? That's the only time we're now allowed to use x. Right? Multiply the number by 5, then add 2. So 5y plus 2, okay?
I've used x multiple times.
Yeah, well, that, like we've just discussed, Sammy and Nico, you with me?
They're all the same number.
Yeah.
Right?
It don't make sense though. They're all the same number.
The next consecutive number,
8.
I put
A plus 1.
a plus 1. That's the next consecutive number. Yeah? Doesn't matter where a is.
12 minus z.
So 12 minus the number is 12. Subtract. Well, here's another one we've got to be careful with.
Z looks like.
So we put a line. We have a European Z.
Once again, my 2's look like Z's.
So you've got to be careful because sometimes they can look like a 2.
People write 7 with line.
Why does it have to be?
Yes, but that's a couple of things there, guys, for numbers. I grew up and they were called European versions. 7, right? But just to be clear, it's a 7 and not a 1, for instance, because some people write 1s like that.
I do too.
Yeah, and it can get confused. So 1, 7.
I write a
Right.
European 7.
And a Z, as I would call it, you call it Z, is like that, but it can get confused with a 2 if you're a bit careless. So we can put a line through the middle to say it's a Z.
My 2's look
Right.
like Z's.
So 12, right, the number minus 12.
X. I mean M minus 12.
Right, why is it super important, Sammy? Why is it important that these two, why have they written them next to each other?
Because they were talking about
related.
They're not confusing you, they're checking your understanding of what?
Of what comes first?
Right. These two are not the same thing, are they?
No.
Right? It's got to be very important that when you write these that you subtract the correct one. So 12 minus the number, or the number minus 12, all right, are different. Now, there are other words that get used, like a number less than 12. Which one is it? A number less than 12, is it this one or this one? Right or left? A number less than 12. Or think of the other one, which would be 12 less than a number. So this one is 12 less than a number, because if you subtract 12, you've got 12 less. If I do a number less than 12, it's that one.
It's something less.
Yeah. Add 6 to the number, then divide the sum by 3. Anyone? Nico?
T add 6.
T, add 6. All of it, divide by 3. Because add 6 to the number, then divide the sum. So that's the sum. The whole thing needs to be divided by 3. Right? This one, 3 times the number plus a new number. Anyone? Nico again?
3m plus.
I'm going to say n instead of m because we've used it.
Okay. Oh, I said plus n, but we could use plus or b.
P. Okay, I just put m. All right, got to be different because it's a new number.
What if we do capital?
Capitals will work, yeah? Capitals work fine.
If we do capital,
S
we won't
plus
get
Yeah. Aaliyah?
S plus 3.
The number of sisters plus the number of brothers, yeah. S plus B.
We already used B. Yes, right
Ah,
above it.
that's a 6, see? See? This is what I was saying. People think my 6s are Bs. But I write my B's with more of a straight, whereas, you know.
I write my 6s with
The sum of the next two consecutive numbers. Yes, David.
Like, b plus 2.
B plus 2 plus B plus 1. Okay, D plus
Okay.
B plus B plus
D,
1.
the sum of the next two consecutive, what's the next number? Would be D plus 1
But put that in brackets.
plus D plus 2. Do we need brackets if there's just lots of adding? But we can simplify it to no, you know how to do this. Come on. Collect like terms.
Oh.
2 D's
Plus 3.
plus 3. Yeah? That's an important one. I keep telling you the consecutive number ones are super important. All right? 4 more than the number of pets minus the number of siblings. So I'll let you repeat letters if they're applicable to. So, Tristan?
So 4 plus H
Okay.
minus S plus B.
Minus the number of siblings. So
S plus B. Number of siblings,
No,
sisters plus brothers.
just put S.
But then that's just the number of siblings.
okay, but
No.
you separate again into sisters and brothers, but we might not actually know that information. We might just get told number of siblings, yeah? So if I ask you for how many siblings you have, so you've made it more complicated, not saying that's always a bad thing, you've added terms there. So this one is just, I only want to know siblings. So let's say I was doing a survey first, I would just say, how many siblings do you have? Rather than how many brothers, how many sisters, yeah? But I get what you mean. So, but we'd have 4 more than the number of pets. Could I write, well, yeah, all right, let's make it, like I said, we can repeat a letter if it makes sense. 4 plus P. Could I write P plus 4?
Yes.
Okay, so that can happen either way round, yeah? Do the numbers come before the letters? Only when we multiply, good. And then we have to subtract either or. S for siblings, if we want to repeat.
S.
Can that come beforehand? Can I do S minus 4 plus P? No, because the subtraction has to be done in the right way, yeah? It says minus the number of siblings. All right, the sum of 10 and some other number is subtracted from another number. It's getting complex.
F.
10 plus F, okay, yeah.
Minus Y.
Minus Y, okay, yeah. It's all right. We're starting to, there are 26, but your imagination is drying up with the number of letters. Are you happy? What?
J.
C, okay. J come afterwards. C. Are you happy with that?
Yes.
Really?
No.
Anyone not happy?
But 10 plus
You've fallen into the trap for this question, I'm afraid.
what? No. Yeah.
Who can see what the trap was?
Is subtracted from another number. There's no
What do you subtract from what?
sum.
If I said to you, 10 is subtracted from 20, what would you do?
10 minus
Oh, 10 is subtracted with it.
You would do 20 subtract 10.
Minus 10
Yes, right? This is the important bit,
Oh,
guys.
right.
The sum of 10 and some other number, this bit here, is subtracted from. Therefore, we've got things the wrong way round. This bit should not be there.
Be on the front.
It should be the other way round. We should have C minus 10 plus F. Right. Something else to check. Do I need brackets?
Yes.
Because I've got to do 10 plus f first,
Yeah.
Yeah,
then
you
subtract that from c.
do. Yeah, you do. 'Cause so that.
Well, how could we, so here's a good thing in maths, you can check.
Saying that you have to start from the left.
Well, do you remember we did BEDMAS and it's brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction? If I've only got addition and subtraction, I should go left to right. Okay? If it's only multiplication and division, I should go in one way, right? But let's just check. Does it make any difference, Hayden? How could I check? Well, let's throw in some numbers. Yeah, exactly. Let's check. So let's just say C is, let's do 50 because it's going to be, and then 10 plus. Let's make F 5. All right, and then we'll work out and say, right, if we do this,
C minus
50 subtract 10 plus 5. Right, so let's do it like that, and then let's do 50 subtract 10 plus 5 and put it in brackets. All right?
Yes, it is different. It is
15.
different.
So
That's
45.
55.
So that's 45.
That's
That's
just
50.
that's 35. Yeah, that's no, yeah, that's 35.
And that's because if it's in brackets, you are actually, do you remember I said be super careful, you're subtracting the plus 5 as well. Whereas on this one, you're actually adding the 5. So remember it says the sum of 10 and some number, that gets done first. So we need to say, do it first. So in this case, we have to put brackets in, all right? Because if we don't, we get a different answer. So you have to do what it says. So you start to see, actually, although the first one was super easy, they're starting to get a little bit more tricky, aren't they?
And they catch us off guard.
Catch you off guard, yeah. Well, is it a trick question, or is it like if you were doing Spanish and you just had a more complicated sentence with different tenses to say? Yeah, that's not a trick. That's just your knowledge and your ability and skills being tested. Yeah, right. The difference, I would say, when it says difference, look, that should make you warning, right? Just like here, get it the right way round. The difference between two numbers is divided by 4 and then multiplied by -5. So it's like having commas in your sentences. Do this bit first. So what do I have to do first? You sure? We've got to do the difference between two numbers first.
Yeah.
So let's do J subtract B. Okay. Does it matter which way round? Because we don't know what, it just says the difference of two. The difference between 5 and 3 is? What's the difference between 3 and 5? 2. If I actually did a subtraction, I would get a negative, but the difference of two numbers, what do you call it, guys? Almost. Almost. Begins with A and B. Absolute, isn't it? If I say the difference between, I'm actually asking for the absolute value. Good. All right. So I don't care which order, the difference, I just take the positive, yeah? So all of that is divided,
5, 4.
right? Why don't I need brackets?
Because it's on top.
Because it's on top and the line goes the whole way. Sometimes you'll see it's got brackets, okay?
Is it necessary to have it?
It's not necessary if the line goes all the way underneath, okay? But then it's multiplied by -5. So here's a little question. This is why we're getting to the end. We would then write, multiply that answer by -5. Okay, I'm just going to put that in brackets because it's a negative. All right, just so it's clear. All right, so it's not subtract 5. I'm just.
It's not.
But that's not how we write algebra. Why? What do we not use when we've got letters? Multiplication symbol.
You have to do it right next to do it on the same line.
Okay, when you multiply a division afterwards, it's like multiplying a fraction. So if I said to you, I've got 1/2, so it's like a fraction, yeah? Actually, shall I make it more relevant? So I'll do, you've got 1/4. If I multiply that by 3, what's the answer?
3/12.
Good. It's not 3/12, it's 3/4. Think of it, David. I've got a quarter of a cake. If I say you can have 3 of that, you have 3/4, yeah? Now, what have I done? I've basically just done 1 times 3, divide by 4. Yeah? So if you multiply a fraction, you multiply, what's the top number called? Numerator, good. So what I can do, this is where the brackets do come in. So I'm going to do that, and then this multiplies that. But how do I write it correctly?
Extend the line.
I could do, which direction?
Right.
No.
Left.
Why left?
Because you said no to right. No, because the wait, are we on the right or left? No, because
What comes first, numbers or letters in multiplication?
numbers.
So even though I'm doing that, then multiplying, we know multiplying can be done either way round. So the number actually goes
On the left.
before it. So we have -5 multiplied by j minus v. All of that gets divided by 4. So now I do need my brackets in there. All right? Now, here's a little note for you. This, with the multiplying, is technically correct. I do the right thing if I had to work out the answer. But it's like bad spelling and grammar, because you know about simplifying and stuff. This is how it should look. This would get me the right answer. So if you were writing in English or history or something like that, you can use bad spelling and grammar and get your point across, yeah? I know what you're trying to say. It might just be harder to read, might look messy, whatever, but I get your point. So in maths, I get your point, but it's messy. This is correct spelling and grammar in maths. Okay? Yes, Rose?
The 2 brackets next to each other looks like the X.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I do get you. Now, technically, I don't need those brackets. I could just do -5 because the negative is now in front and it's not going to get confused. So feel free, if you think it's confusing you, to not have that. You'll quite often see that. That's absolutely fine. Okay? Finally, then, before we go, perfect timing. The sum of 2 numbers is added to their product and then halved.
ooh, can I do it?
Go for it.
I think I got it wrong, but
Go for it.
okay, so I did bracket first, and then another bracket. Yeah. And then F plus A and close bracket. And then plus F times A.
Like that.
No, I did like FA.
I get you. Yeah.
And then so those in, then close brackets and then divide by 2. That's correct.
Do we need these brackets?
I divided by 2 at the end.
Oh, so you wrote it like that? So again, that's a spelling and grammar thing. This is much nicer, yeah? So the question is, do I need these? So if I got rid of that, would I get the same thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that is a common thing, overdoing the brackets. But yeah, it's fine what you did. Overdoing brackets is only a slight thing, but it's not bad. Right, yeah.
Well, that was a mess.